Exponents, Part 5. In today's lesson, students will learn how to multiply exponents with coefficients in front of the variable. With what? Coefficients in front of the variable. Very good. So today we're going to review multiplying exponents. And there's going to be one difference. The difference this time is that there are going to be coefficients, those will be in red, coefficients in front of the variable. What will they be? Coefficients in front of the variable. Remember that the coefficient, say it with me, coefficient is the number, right? It's the big number. Now that's different than the base, okay? Because the base will still be the letter, which is the variable. So the base will still be the variable. Okay, the variable is going to be the letter. So in this example right here, we have the coefficients are 2 and 4. And what family is this? What variable are we talking about? What's the base? It's x. Okay. So you still see a multiplication symbol between these two terms. And the rule is that when you read the rule with me. Now this is about multiplying exponents. It says when multiplying exponents, you have to multiply the coefficients. So go ahead and write the word multiply. Multiply the coefficients and what to the exponents? You're still going to do what? When you multiply exponents, you have to add, right? But you're going to add the exponents. Now this is going to be very simple for you. Because now that we're dealing with variables, okay, you don't necessarily have to expand these. You just have to know the rule or the shortcut. So let's read this together. It says 2x squared times 4x to the power of 4. So we're going to go ahead, take a look at the 2 and the 4. What are those called? Those are called the coefficients. Repeat after me, coefficients. So you have to multiply the coefficients. So what is 2 times 4? 2 times 4 is 8. Very good. And now we're going to take a look at the exponents, which are the little numbers. So when you multiply exponents, you have to add. And so we're going to put a little addition sign up here. What is 2 plus 4? 2 plus 4 is what? It's 6. That's right. So it's going to be 8x to the power of 6. Okay? Where 8 is the coefficient, which is the number. X is the base, or the variable. And 6 is the exponent. Very simple. Okay, so we're going to do some examples where we are multiplying exponents that also have coefficients in front of them. And the coefficients are going to be the ones that are in red on the board. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1, right in the box, 3x cubed, okay, it's 3x to the power of 3, times x to the first power. Now, remember, just like in equations, when you see an x by itself, is there something invisible? Is there something invisible that needs to be there? It's the invisible what? It's the invisible 1. Because it's telling you, look, there is 1 of x. There's 1 of x. And it's also x to the first power. Okay? So we see 3x cubed times 1x to the power of 1. So this tells you what to do. It says multiply the coefficients but add the exponents. Okay, so we're going to do 3 times 1. Okay, 3 times 1 is, what's 3 times 1? It's not 4. It's 1 of 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. Very good. Then you're going to add the exponents. So we're going to put a little addition sign and ask ourselves, well, what is 3 plus 4? What is 3 plus 1? 3 plus 1 is 4, okay? All right, so it's going to be x to the power of 4. Great job. 3x to the power of 4, okay? Now, we don't need to expand this, because if we did, it would be 3 times x times x times x times x, right? But that doesn't really help us. I will write it just so you can see what does this mean. It means 3 times, how many x's do we have? We have 4. So we say x times x times x times x. Okay, so that is what it is expanded. Okay, do we have to rewrite this as a fraction? Do we? Okay, no, because the exponent is positive. So we say, no, I'm not going to rewrite this, but if I simplify it, okay, simplify means you're not solving, there's no equal sign. You simplify expressions. This is an expression, okay? And when you simplify it, it's just going to be 3x to the power of 4. Very simple, right? Let's do the next example. It says 4x squared times 6x to the power of 3. Now, in these two examples, you have positive coefficients and positive exponents. I make it so easy for you because positive times positive is positive. So we're going to multiply the coefficients first. What's it going to say? 4 times 6. What's 4 times 6? Danny, what's 4 times 6? 24. Very good. It's 24. So we have 24. And then we're going to do what to the exponents? You're going to add the exponents. So you're going to ask yourself, well, what's 2 plus 3? 2 plus 3 is 5. So the base is x, and it's to the power of 5. Very good. 24, x to the power of 5. Now, if you were to expand this, it would be 24. And how many x's would this be? How many x's? There's 5. So it would be x times x times x times x times x. All right? So this will be helpful for us later in the week when we divide. Okay, but when you multiply, you just need to know that you add exponents. And when you expand the base, and the base is a variable, you're going to multiply the variable y itself, which now is going to be a letter. Okay, so do you have to rewrite this as a fraction? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Okay, it's no, because this is a positive exponent. So we don't have to rewrite it under 1. And when you simplify it, it is 24x to the power of 5. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to make it a little bit more challenging for you. Okay, I'm actually going to make this negative as well. Now I'm going to give you situations where you have either the base, or not the, with either the coefficient is negative or the exponent is negative. Okay? So first let's take a look. Negative 2x to the power of 4 times x to the power of negative 2. Okay, is there something invisible first? Look at the coefficient. What should this be? It should be 1x to the power of negative 2. So we're going to multiply the coefficients. What is negative 2 times 1? Negative 2 times 1. Any number times 1 is itself. So the coefficient will be negative 2. Now we're going to add exponents. This is 4 plus a negative 2. Well, 4 plus a negative 2 is the same as saying, what's 4 take away 2? Okay, so it's going to be x to the power of 2. Okay, so it should be negative 2x to the power of 2. Do you have to rewrite this? Is the exponent negative? No, so you do not have to rewrite this. And when you simplify it, this will match. This column will match this. So it'll be negative 2x to the power of 2. Now let's take a look at this one, okay? We have 5x to the power of negative 6 times negative 3x to the power of 2. Okay, so first we're going to do what? We're going to multiply the coefficients. Repeat, multiply the coefficients. The coefficients are the numbers, my friends. So the big numbers. So we say 5 times a negative 3. What's 5 times negative 3? It's negative what? Negative 15. Okay, so we have a negative 15. Now let's go ahead and add the exponents. Negative 6 plus 2. Same signs or different signs? Different signs, subtract. Right? Keep the sign of the bigger number. So you have a negative 6 and a positive 2. Negative 6 and positive 2. So if you subtract 6 take away 2, that's going to be 4. But keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative 6. So it's going to be 15x to the power of negative 4. All right. Negative 4. Here we go. Now let's take a look at this one, okay? Because now the exponent is negative. Can you have negative exponents? Who remembers from last week? Can you have negative exponents and leave that as an answer? No, you cannot. So do you have to rewrite it as a fraction? Yes. And when it's negative and up, bring it down. Good job. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to put it under the number 1. But my coefficient will still stay negative. You can have negative coefficients, you just can't have negative variables or exponents. So it's going to be x to the power of, it changes from a negative 4 to a positive 4. Alrighty. So the answer is going to be negative 1 over 15 x to the power of 4. And I wanted to tell you that if you have a negative at the bottom of a fraction, repeat after me. If you have a negative at the bottom of a fraction, then you can put the negative in the middle of the fraction. Okay, because it's just saying that this fraction value is negative. There's one negative. So the whole fraction becomes negative. It's negative 1 over 15x to the power of 4. Go ahead and write that down. Do a few more examples with some negative coefficients and also negative exponents. So here we go. The first one is x times negative 2x to the power of negative 2. When there is an x by itself and there's no exponent, the exponent is going to be what? What number do you think? Because there's 1 of x. So what do you think that the power is? It's x to the power of 1. So just like there's an invisible 1 as a coefficient, there's an invisible 1 as an exponent. So I want you to go ahead and write 1x to the power of 1. There you go. So we have 1x to the power of 1 times negative 2x to the power of 2. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, is multiply the coefficients. Multiply the coefficients are the red numbers. We have 1 times negative 2. Who remembers what 1 times negative 2 is? It's negative 2. Very good. Now you're going to add the exponents. We have 1 plus a negative 2. Now that's the same as saying it's a positive 1, okay? This is really positive, but you're adding a negative. So this is either you look at it as 1 plus negative 2 or 1 minus 2. All you have to say to yourself, are there different signs? Yes. So 1, take away 2, okay? Or 2 minus 1 is 1, but it's negative. So it's x to the power of negative 1. Do you have to rewrite this as a fraction? Yes. Negative and up, move it down. Okay, we're going to move this down. And it's going to be 1 over. Keep the negative coefficient. It's negative 2x to the power now of positive 1. So you simplify this. You rewrite it as 1 over negative 2x to the power of 1. Now, if you want to leave that 1 off, you could. You don't have to put a 1, okay? This is saying the same thing. X to the power of 1 is the same as x. Here we go. Next one. Negative 3x times negative 4. This isn't 3 minus 4. It's negative 3 times a negative 4. Okay, so we have 3x times negative 4x to the power of negative 4. Now remember what goes here? There's also an invisible what for an exponent? Invisible 1. That's right. Okay, do we all understand that? Okay, so we have 3 times negative 4 is negative what? Negative 12. Then you have 1 plus a negative 4. Again, the same as 1 minus 4. Okay, different signs subtract. So you have a positive 1 and a negative 4 makes what? Negative 3, because you have to keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's x to the negative 3. Okay, negative and up, move it down. So do you have to rewrite this? Yes, because there is a negative exponent. So you say 1 over, okay, we have a negative 12. Now we have x to the power of what? Is it negative 3 anymore? No, it is a positive 3. So you rewrite that as 1 over negative 12, x to the power of 3. Okay, get that down. All right, let's do 2 more. You have, read this with me, negative 4x cubed. Read it again. Negative 4x cubed times 2x to the power of negative 1. All right, so let's go ahead and multiply the coefficients. What do you do first? Multiply coefficients. So those are the red numbers. What is negative 4 times 2? Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Good. Now let's look at the exponents. We're going to add them. It's 3 plus a negative 1. You know that that's really saying to you 3 minus 1. Okay, 3 minus 1, which is 2. So it's 8x to the power of positive 2. See? Because these are different signs, but the bigger sign is positive. Just because there's no positive in front of it doesn't mean that it's not positive. This is a positive 3. Do you have to rewrite this? Okay. What's negative, the exponent or the coefficient? The what? The coefficient is negative. So you do not rewrite this. Okay. And you just write it as negative 8x to the power of 2. Great job. Okay, let's do one more. We have negative 4x to the power of negative 3 times a negative x to the power of 2. First of all, is there some invisible number that is missing? It is the negative 1. Good job. So we're going to multiply exponents. Now we have we're going to multiply coefficients. Now we have two negative coefficients, a negative 4 and a negative 1. Okay? So negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Now we'll add the exponents. Negative 3 and a positive 2. Different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number. So that's a negative 3. So what do you say? 3 minus 2 is 1, but take the sign of the higher number, or the bigger number. So it's x to the power of negative 1. Do you have to rewrite this? Yes, you do. Okay, negative and up, bring it down. So we're going to bring it down and put it over the number what? The number 1. Then you're going to say 4x to the power of, it's not negative anymore, is it? We made it positive. So we're going to rewrite this as 1 over. Could you just write it as 4x? Do you have to write that little invisible 1? No, you do not. So you could write it as 1 over 4x. Very good. Go ahead and get that down.